Hello, so in this video we're going to look at analysing the effectiveness of a maximum price and how a maximum price could work to correct a market failure. So in particular here we're going to have a look at how a maximum price would be used to correct a market failure associated with merit goods. Obviously merit goods have positive externalities in consumption, and as good economists we know that merit goods are underconsumed and we want people to consume the positive externalities, consume these goods because we know that they produce positive externalities in consumption. So let's explain how a maximum price would correct this market failure here. So let's just put merit goods, and we know that they are underconsumed. So what must we do in order for our maximum price to address this market failure? Well, first of all, the market price must be set below the market equilibrium in order for it to be effective. So max price must be below the market equilibrium. And in our diagram, the market equilibrium is at PQ. So the maximum price must be set below the market equilibrium of PQ. So we can quite clearly see here that the maximum price is set below the market equilibrium of PQ. So merit goods are underconsumed. The MAP price must be below the market equilibrium in order to be effective. In order to be effective. So max price is introduced. Maximum price introduced at P max. Okay, so let's explain what this means. So at the lower price, let's focus first of all on consumers. So obviously the demand curve relates to consumers. So the maximum price now being meaning the price is now lower, would obviously mean that consumers are more willing and able to buy this particular product due to the imposition of the maximum price. At the lower price, and that lower price being P max, consumers are more willing and able to buy at the given price at that time. So at the lower price of P max, consumers are more willing and able to buy at the given price of P max at that particular time. Okay, so what this means is the quantity demanded increases from Q to Q2. So we see here that previously at the price P, the quantity demanded would have only been Q. But with this maximum price being introduced, it should lead to a greater quantity demanded because consumers are more willing and able to buy at that given price at that particular time, with that given price being P max, and therefore the quantity demanded would be Q2. Let's just have a look at other things we can explain with regards to our diagram. At the lower price, though, obviously, again, referring to P max, well, producers are less willing and able to sell at the given price of P max. at that particular time. So, and what we see therefore is and this is obviously due to the profit motive, because what producers would do producers would reallocate their resources elsewhere to more profitable business ventures. So they'd obviously put their resources into producing something where they can make a far greater profit. Reallocate resources to more profitable products. So this is a product that they could produce, which obviously is attracting a higher price. They would reallocate their resources to that other product in order to generate a greater profit there. And that's therefore why we see when a maximum price is introduced, obviously the price being lowered, they would therefore reduce their quantity supplied because they'd be moving their production elsewhere. So at the lower price of PMAX, producers are less willing and able to sell at the given price of PMAX at that particular time. And the reason for that is due to the profit motive. So as a result, we see quantity supplied falls from Q to Q1. So we can see that on our diagram here at the original market equilibrium of PQ. Obviously, quantity supplied would have been at a quantity of Q. But with the maximum price being introduced, that quantity supplied is now reduced from Q to Q1 due to the profit motive. Obviously, that lower price is not as profitable, therefore, for firms, and therefore they're going to reallocate their resources elsewhere. And as a result, therefore, there is less supply within the market. So as a result, the difference between Q2 and Q1, as a result, Q2 minus Q1, obviously the gap between Q2 and Q1, generates excess demand. And if you wanted to, you could actually put specific quantities to that, and you could calculate what the excess demand was. So let's say that was Q2 was 10 million and Q1 was 5 million. Obviously the excess demand would have been 5 million, because obviously quantity demanded would have been 10 million, quantity supplied would have been 5 million. 10 million take 5 million leaves you with excess demand of 5 million. 5 million more people are 5 more million products are demanded than are actually being supplied. But let's now go back to addressing the issue of a merit good. So we just to recap, we said that the merit goods are underconsumed, and a maximum price may be introduced to help increase consumption of them. And obviously society can benefit from the positive externalities in consumption. Obviously the maximum price lowers the price because obviously in order for it to be effective, it has to be set below the market equilibrium, and that encourages more people to consume the good because they are more willing and able to buy at that given price of PMAX at that particular time. And as we see in our diagram, the quantity demanded increases, and therefore that should hopefully correct the market failure of merit goods, because more consumption of these goods is being seen. So let's just put a note that at the lower price of PMAX, we should expect an increase in quantity demanded, and that should correct the market failure associated with merit goods. So there we go. Just to recap one final time, we can use a maximum price on merit goods such as fruit and veg. Obviously fruit and veg have positive externalities in consumption. In order for the maximum price to be effective, it needs to be set below the market equilibrium, and we quite clearly see that in our diagram, that the maximum price is set below the market equilibrium. That lower price encourages a greater quantity demanded. We see that the quantity demanded increases from Q to Q2, and by doing so, by quantity demanded increasing from Q to Q2, we would expect, therefore, that the market failure to be corrected because there's a greater consumption of the fruit and veg. But there is a particular issue which we'll draw upon when we look at our evaluation. There's obviously issues that suppliers are less willing and able to sell at that given price of Pmax and are only going to really sell a quantity of Q1 due to obviously the profit motive means that they're going to reallocate their resources to producing more profitable products. But there we go. We've fully explained, related to our diagram, how a maximum price works.